The darkness between galaxies was absolute. No stars shone here, no planets orbited, no life existed in this empty void. Yet something moved through the blackness, something that had been traveling for thousands of years. Commander Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the New Terra, staring at the view screen that showed nothing but endless dark. His uniform was different from what his ancestors wore, modified over generations of space travel. His face was young, only 35, but his eyes held the weight of history. Behind him, the crew worked quietly at their stations, performing checks they had done a million times before. "We're approaching the galactic rim," said Amy Chen from the pilot's seat. Her hands moved across the controls with practiced ease. 15 minutes until we cross back into council space." Jake nodded slowly. 4,000 years. That's how long humanity had been gone from the galaxy, wandering in the void, building their strength, waiting for this moment. He had grown up hearing stories about Earth, about the blue oceans and green forests, about billions of people living under a yellow sun. But Earth was gone now, destroyed by the Galactic Council when humanity refused to bow to their rule. "Status of the fleet?" Jake asked. "All 300 ships are in formation," replied Kevin Price from his station. The intelligence officer looked tired. He had been working non-stop for weeks, preparing for their return. "Weapons are charged. Shields are ready. Everyone is waiting for your order, Commander." Jake walked to the center of the bridge, his boots making soft sounds on the metal floor. 300 ships. It seemed like a lot. But the Galactic Council had thousands, maybe tens of thousands. They ruled over 12 different alien species, controlled hundreds of worlds, and had military power beyond imagination. The Council believed humanity was extinct, wiped out completely 4 millennia ago. That was humanity's only advantage. Surprise. "Bring up the old records," Jake said to Dr. Lisa Grant, who sat at the science station. She was older than the others, gray hair tied back, glasses perched on her nose. Lisa had spent her entire life studying the fragments of information that survived Earth's destruction. The view screen changed, showing ancient text and images. Lisa spoke in her usual calm voice. "The Galactic Council formed 6,000 years ago, bringing together 12 species under one government. They claimed to bring peace and prosperity to all worlds. But when Earth developed faster space travel in the year 2025, the Council took notice. They sent ambassadors in 2031 offering Earth membership. But there was a catch," Jake said. He knew this story by heart. "Yes," Lisa continued. "Earth would have to accept Council law above all human law. Earth would have to limit its technology development. Earth would have to accept Council military bases on the Moon and Mars. Essentially, Earth would become a vassal state, not an equal partner." The screen showed images of the debates that followed. World leaders arguing. Protests in streets. Finally, in 2033, Earth voted no. They would remain independent. The Council didn't like that answer, Kevin added, pulling up more files. They gave Earth 5 years to reconsider. When Earth still refused in 2038, the Council declared humanity a threat to galactic peace. They said humans were too aggressive, too independent, too dangerous to exist. Jake clenched his fists. The next part always made him angry. The screen showed Earth from space, beautiful and blue. Then the Council ships appeared, hundreds of them surrounding the planet. The attack lasted 6 hours. Kinetic bombardment, plasma weapons, and something the Council called cleanser beams that burned the atmosphere. When it was over, Earth was a dead rock, 7 billion humans gone in a single day. But not all humans were on Earth, Lisa said softly. Colony ships were already traveling to other stars. Mining operations on asteroids. Research stations in deep space. About 500,000 humans survived, scattered across dozens of locations. And the Council hunted them, Jake said bitterly. They spent the next 50 years tracking down every human settlement, destroying every ship, wiping out every trace of humanity. Almost every trace, Amy said from her seat. They missed us. The survivors had fled into the void beyond the galactic rim where the Council wouldn't follow. For 4,000 years, humans lived on their ships, moving from one empty system to another in the darkness between galaxies. They built new ships from asteroids. They had children who had children who had children. Technology advanced slowly but steadily. The population grew, and every generation remembered Earth. Every generation remembered the Council's betrayal. "We're crossing the rim now," Amy announced. The view screen lit up with stars. After months in the dark void, the galaxy looked impossibly bright. Jake felt his heart beat faster. They were home. Not Earth, not yet, but back in the galaxy where humanity belonged. All ships report ready, Kevin said. What are your orders? Jake took a deep breath. Begin Phase 1. Find us a target. The fleet spread out, moving carefully through the outer regions of Council space. These areas were barely patrolled, just empty star systems with nothing worth protecting. But even here they had to be careful. If the Council discovered them too soon, before humanity was ready, the fleet would be destroyed. Days passed as they searched. The crew worked in shifts, scanning every system looking for something useful. Finally, Kevin called Jake to the bridge in the middle of the night cycle. We found something, Kevin said, excitement in his voice. A Council scout ship, small, only about 20 crew members. It's investigating an asteroid field 2 systems away. Perfect, Jake said. Amy, plot an intercept course. Ryan, get your tactical team ready. Captain Ryan Hoffman grinned. He was younger than Jake, hot-tempered, always eager for a fight. Ryan had lost family when Council patrols found and destroyed a human outpost 70 years ago. He wanted revenge badly. Finally, Ryan muttered. I'm tired of hiding. The new Terra approached the asteroid field slowly, using the rocks for cover. The Council scout ship was medium-sized, sleek, with weapons that could probably destroy 3 or 4 human ships if it got a chance to fight. But Jake didn't plan to give it that chance. Matching their sensor frequency, Kevin said, fingers flying over his console. They shouldn't be able to detect us. Their technology hasn't changed much in 4,000 years. Ours has. Weapons lock acquired, Ryan reported. Say the word, Commander. Jake hesitated. Once they fired, there was no going back. The Council would know humans still existed. The war would begin again. But humanity hadn't come all this way just to hide forever. Fire, Jake ordered. The new Terra's weapons were different from normal ship weapons. Human engineers had spent centuries developing new technology during the long exile. Instead of plasma or lasers, they used focused gravity beams that crushed targets from the inside. The Council scout ship never had a chance. Its shields collapsed, its hull crumpled, and within seconds the ship was disabled but intact. Send in the boarding teams, Jake said. Marines in armor jumped from the new Terra to the crippled scout ship. Jake watched through the helmet cameras as they cut through the airlock and moved inside. The alien crew tried to fight back, but they were unprepared and outmatched. Within 10 minutes, the ship was secured. 22 prisoners, reported Brandon Cole, the Marine commander. No human casualties. The ship's computer is intact. Bring them to the new Terra, Jake ordered. Lisa, you're with me. We need to question them. In the detention area, Jake stood in front of the alien prisoners. They were Vryn, a species that looked like tall, thin reptiles with 4 arms and gray scales. One of them, wearing an officer's uniform, stared at Jake with wide eyes. You're human, the Vryn officer said in accented but understandable English. All Council species learned English, the language of the extinct threat they studied in military schools. That's impossible. Humans are gone. We're back, Jake said simply. And we have questions. Tell me about the Council's current military structure. The officer said nothing, but Jake could see fear in the alien's eyes. Lisa stepped forward holding a datapad. We don't want to hurt you, Lisa said gently. We just need information. If you cooperate, you'll be released unharmed. The Council will destroy you, the officer said, but there was doubt in the voice. You're just one ship. We're 300 ships, Kevin said from the doorway. And we're not afraid of the Council anymore. Over the next few hours, they extracted crucial information from the prisoners. The Council's capital was a space station called Unity Prime. The current Council had 12 members, 1 from each species. 3 of those members were the same individuals who had voted to destroy Earth 4,000 years ago. Their species lived for thousands of years. Earth's solar system, Jake asked carefully. What happened to it? The Vryn officer looked uncomfortable. It's called Sector 721 Omega now. The Council built a military academy there. They use it to train officers, to teach them about the danger of aggressive species. Earth itself is preserved as a monument. Jake felt sick. They had turned Earth's grave into a school, a place to teach young alien officers why they should fear and hate humanity. One more question, Lisa said. Has the Council destroyed any other species? The officer hesitated, then nodded slowly. 2 others, the Kelricks and the Voth. Both refused to join the Council. Both were eliminated. 3 weeks had passed since the human fleet entered Council space. They moved like shadows, striking quickly and disappearing before reinforcements could arrive. Small outposts went dark, Supply convoys vanished. Communication relays stopped working. The attacks were precise and calculated, leaving behind only one clue, a simple message broadcast on all frequencies that said, "We remember." Nicole Sanders sat in the dimly lit cyber warfare center of the New Terra, surrounded by screens displaying alien computer code. She was young, barely 25, with short black hair and tired eyes from too many sleepless nights. Her fingers moved constantly across holographic keyboards, typing commands that infiltrated council networks light years away. "I'm in," she announced, not looking away from her screens. "Their communication network is completely open to me now. They have no idea we're inside their systems." Jake stood behind her, watching the data flow across the screens. Most of it was in alien languages, but the translation software converted everything to English. Reports from council military bases, civilian news broadcasts, private communications between government officials. "What are they saying about us?" Jake asked. Nicole pulled up several files. "Most of them still think we're pirates or rebels. The official story is that a terrorist group is attacking the outer territories. They're not telling their people that humans are back." "They're afraid," Kevin said from his station nearby. "If ordinary council citizens learn the truth, they'll start asking questions about what really happened to Earth." Nicole switched to another screen showing a news broadcast. An alien reporter, a tall blue-skinned creature with 6 eyes, was speaking urgently. The translation appeared as subtitles. "Council security assures citizens that the recent attacks on Outer Rim facilities are being handled. Military forces have been dispatched to hunt down the criminals responsible. There is no cause for alarm." "Criminals," Ryan spat. He paced back and forth like a caged animal. "They murder 7 billion people and we're the criminals." "Keep digging," Jake told Nicole. "I want to know everything. Military movements, political discussions, anything about Earth's destruction." Nicole worked for hours, breaking through layers of security, accessing files that were supposed to be impossible to reach. The Council's computer systems were advanced but predictable. They hadn't changed their encryption methods in centuries. Humanity's 4,000 years of isolation had given them time to develop entirely new approaches to technology. "Jake, you need to see this," Nicole said suddenly, her voice shaking. She pulled up a classified document dated 4,000 years ago. It's the original Council report about Earth. The file contained meeting transcripts from the Council session, where they decided humanity's fate. Jake read through it, his jaw tightening with each paragraph. One council member, a being called Zethrax of the Zalthari species, had argued passionately for Earth's destruction. "Humans are dangerous," Zethrax had said in the ancient meeting. "Not because they are aggressive, though they are. Not because they are warlike, though war is in their nature. They are dangerous because they refuse to be controlled. They ask questions. They challenge authority. They believe in something they call freedom, and they will fight for it. If we allow them to exist, other species will see their example. They will begin to question us. They will begin to resist. We cannot allow this. Humanity must be destroyed completely." Another council member, Mextar of the Trin species, had agreed. "Humans advance too quickly. In just 200 years, they went from basic flight to faster-than-light travel. In another 1,000 years, they might surpass us. We cannot permit a species we cannot control to become more powerful than the Council." A third member, Vorash of the Quelon species, had voted yes as well. "I propose we preserve their genetic material for study. After we cleanse Earth, we should harvest samples for our biological research facilities. Understanding human physiology might help us develop better methods to control aggressive populations." Jake felt sick. They hadn't just killed Earth out of fear. They had killed it to maintain power, to stop humanity from inspiring other species to seek independence. And then they had harvested human DNA like crops. "Are these 3 still alive?" Jake asked quietly. "Checking," Kevin said, accessing Council personnel files through Nicole's connection. "Zethrax, yes, still serving on the Council. Mextar, yes, now the head of Council military operations. Vorash died 600 years ago from natural causes." 2 out of 3, Ryan said darkly. "That's enough." Kate entered the room looking worried. "We have a problem. One of our strike teams encountered resistance at a Council logistics base. The base was supposed to be lightly defended, but they had a full military garrison waiting. They're adapting," Jake realized, reinforcing their positions. "How many ships did we lose?" 3, Kate said softly. 78 crew members. The team retreated successfully, but the Council captured some of our weapons debris. They're analyzing it now. Jake closed his eyes. 78 people dead. This was war. And there would be more casualties, but it never got easier. Nicole, can you access the facility where they're studying our weapons? Jake asked. Give me 20 minutes, she replied, already working. While Nicole worked, Lisa called Jake to her laboratory. She had been studying the genetic data Nicole had discovered in the Council files. They did harvest human DNA, Lisa said, showing him medical reports on her screen. For 4,000 years, they've been experimenting on human genetic samples. They created diseases specifically designed to target human biology. They developed chemical weapons that would be lethal to humans but harmless to Council species. Jake, they were preparing to kill us again if we ever returned. They knew, Jake said. Somehow they knew we might survive. Or they were just being thorough, Lisa suggested. The Council doesn't take chances. They wanted to make sure humanity could never threaten them, not even as a possibility. Brandon Cole appeared in the doorway, still wearing his combat armor from a recent training exercise. The Marine commander was built like a tank, all muscle and scars, but his voice was surprisingly gentle. The crew is getting restless, Brandon said. They want a real fight. These hit-and-run attacks are good for morale, but people want to strike back at the Council directly. Not yet, Jake said. We're not ready. When will we be ready? Brandon pressed. We have good ships, good weapons, and 300 years of anger driving us. What more do we need? Time, Jake answered. We need the Council to be afraid and confused. We need their own people to start questioning them. Nicole's broadcasts are already causing doubt. We need that doubt to grow. Nicole had been transmitting the truth about Earth across Council networks, encrypted messages that appeared on civilian computers telling the real story of what happened 4,000 years ago. Most people ignored them or thought they were fake, but some were listening. I found something else, Nicole announced. There's a journalist, an alien named Kiara from the Silex species. She's been investigating the old Earth files independently. She doesn't believe the official Council story. She's been publishing articles questioning the narrative. Can we contact her? Kate asked, interested. Maybe, Nicole said, but it's risky. She might report us to the authorities. Or she might help us, Kate argued. If we can get someone inside the Council to speak the truth publicly, it could change everything. Jake considered this. It was dangerous, but Kate had a point. The human fleet couldn't defeat the entire Council military through force alone. They needed allies, or at least they needed to divide their enemies. Make contact, Jake decided. But be careful. Nicole sent an encrypted message to Kiara, including proof of the Council's lies about Earth. Documents showing that Earth didn't die from disease, as the Council claimed, but was deliberately destroyed. Evidence that humanity had been peaceful when the attack happened. The truth about why the Council feared them. 2 days passed with no response. Then Kiara replied with a single question. Who are you? Nicole answered, the ghosts you created. Another pause then. Humans? That's impossible. Read the files. Judge for yourself. The conversation continued over several hours. Kiara was skeptical at first, but the evidence was overwhelming. Finally, she agreed to meet, suggesting a location on a remote trading station in neutral space between Council territories. It's a trap, Ryan warned when they discussed the proposal. She's working with Council security. They'll be waiting for us. Maybe, Kate said. Or maybe she's genuine. We need to take the risk. Jake made the decision to send a small team. Kate to negotiate, Brandon and 5 Marines for protection, and Nicole to handle any computer systems they might encounter. They took a fast courier ship, leaving the main fleet hidden in an asteroid field. The trading station was old and run down, a place where smugglers and merchants conducted business away from Council oversight. Thousands of aliens moved through its corridors, making it easy to blend in. Kate's team wore disguises, looking like ordinary traders. They found Kiara waiting in a private meeting room. She was a Silex, which meant she looked somewhat like a tall, thin humanoid covered in silver fur, with large black eyes and 3-fingered hands. She stood when they entered, her body language showing fear and curiosity. The galaxy was in chaos. Kiara's publication of the truth about Earth had spread like wildfire across Council networks. On a dozen worlds, citizens demanded answers from their governments. How could the Council have lied for 4,000 years? Why was Earth really destroyed? Were humans actually the monsters they had been taught to fear, or were they victims? Commander Jake Morrison watched the news feeds from the New Terra's bridge, seeing the council fracture before his eyes. But he also saw something troubling. Military mobilization, council fleets gathering at strategic points. They were preparing for war. The council issued a statement, Kevin reported, reading from his screen. They're calling Kiara's documents terrorist propaganda and claiming humans are dangerous extremists who will destroy the galaxy if not stopped. They're ordering all council species to prepare for war against the human threat. They're using fear to unite their people, Lisa observed. The oldest trick in politics. Create an enemy and everyone stops questioning their leaders. Is it working? Jake asked. On some worlds, yes, Nicole answered, monitoring public opinion across council space. But not everywhere. 3 species have formally questioned the council's actions. The Helix, the Quan, and the Silex are demanding a full investigation into Earth's destruction. The Silex are Kiara's people, Kate noted. She convinced them at least. Speaking of Kiara, Nicole continued, she's going to trial in 3 days. They're charging her with treason, aiding terrorists and spreading false information. The penalty is death. Kate looked at Jake hopefully. We could rescue her. A small strike team in and out before they know what happened. That's exactly what they want, Tyler Brooks said. He was Jake's second in command, older and more cautious. They'll have heavy security waiting. It's bait. Maybe, Jake said thoughtfully. But we can't let an ally die when we have the power to save her. We need to show the galaxy that we protect those who help us. He turned to Brandon. Can your Marines do it? Brandon studied the prison facility layout that Nicole had pulled up. It's going to be difficult. The prison is on a heavily fortified council military world. But difficult isn't impossible. Give me a week to plan it properly. While Brandon planned the rescue, Jake split the human fleet into 3 separate battle groups. The first, led by Ryan, would strike council weapons depots in the northern sectors. The second, commanded by Tyler, would hit supply lines in the east. Jake would lead the third group personally, targeting military installations near Earth's solar system. We need to spread them thin, Jake explained to his officers. The council has more ships than us, but they can't be everywhere at once. We force them to split their forces, then we hit them where they're weakest. Ryan's battle group departed first, 12 ships heading toward the northern territories. His target was a massive weapons facility that supplied arms to half the council fleet. If they could destroy it, the council's ability to wage war would be severely damaged. The attack went perfectly. Ryan's ships came out of faster-than-light travel right on top of the facility, catching the defending forces completely by surprise. The battle lasted only 15 minutes. Ryan's ships used the gravity-based weapons that crushed the facility's shields and tore its structure apart. They jumped away before reinforcements could arrive, leaving the burning wreckage behind. Target destroyed. Ryan reported over the long-range communicator, satisfaction in his voice. Minimal damage to our ships. The Council's northern fleet just lost its primary supply base. Good work, Jake replied. Return to the rendezvous point. But then came troubling news from Tyler's group. They had attacked a supply convoy only to discover it was a trap. Council ships had been waiting, hidden among the cargo vessels. A fierce battle erupted. Tyler's group fought well, destroying most of the Council ambush, but 3 human ships were lost. They're adapting, Tyler reported grimly. They knew we'd target that convoy. Someone is predicting our moves. Jake gathered his officers for an emergency meeting. We have a leak, or they have someone very smart planning their defenses. Either way, we need to change tactics. Or we need to make our real target unexpected, Nicole suggested. She pulled up a star map showing Earth's solar system. They think we're just hitting random targets. They don't realize we're working our way toward Earth. If we can keep that secret until the last moment, we'll have a chance. Chris Dalton, the chief engineer, entered the meeting holding a data pad. He was an older man, balding with grease stains permanently embedded in his skin from years of working on ships. I've finished the modifications to the new Terra. The new weapons system is ready for testing. If it works, one ship could take on 12 council vessels. What kind of weapon? Jake asked. It's based on technology we developed during the exile, Chris explained. It creates a temporary rift in space-time, essentially a controlled black hole that exists for only a fraction of a second. Anything caught in its field is crushed to nothing. The problem is it takes enormous energy, We can only fire it once every 10 minutes and it drains our main power systems. One shot every 10 minutes, Ryan said skeptically. That's not much use in a real battle. One shot that can destroy anything, Chris countered. Even Unity Prime, the Council's capital station. I've run the calculations. A direct hit would tear the station apart. Jake looked at the weapon specifications. It was incredibly powerful, but also incredibly risky. If they missed, or if the weapon failed, the new Terra would be defenseless for 10 minutes. We'll test it on a remote target, Jake decided. But this weapon is a last resort. We use it only when we have no other choice. 3 days later, Brandon's team launched their rescue mission. They approached Kiara's prison in a captured Council transport ship, pretending to be delivering supplies. Nicole had hacked the prison's security systems, creating false authorization codes that would get them inside. The plan worked until they reached Kiara's cell. She was there looking thinner and exhausted but alive. When she saw the Marines in their armor, hope lit up her face. But then alarms started blaring. They knew, one of the Marines said. It was a trap after all. Doesn't matter, Brandon said firmly. We came for her, we're leaving with her. Move now! They fought their way back to the transport, carrying Kiara between them. Council security forces poured into the corridors, firing energy weapons that scorched the walls. Brandon's Marines returned fire, their weapons more advanced and more accurate. They left bodies behind them, both alien and human. At the landing pad, they found their transport surrounded by Council military vehicles. Amy was in the pilot's seat, keeping the engines running. We've got company, she shouted over the communicator. We noticed, Brandon replied dryly, firing at the approaching soldiers. Get ready for a hot extraction. They ran up the transport's ramp, dragging 2 wounded Marines and Kiara. Amy launched the ship before the ramp fully closed, pulling away as weapons fire lit up the sky around them. Multiple pursuit ships incoming, Amy warned. This is going to be rough, she was right. Council fighters chased them through the planet's atmosphere and into space, firing constantly. The transport's shields held, but barely. Amy flew like a demon, dodging between orbital platforms using larger ships for cover, making the Council pilots work for every shot. Jumping to faster than light in 30 seconds. Amy counted down. 20 seconds. 10 seconds, mark. The transport lurched into hyperspace, leaving the pursuing fighters behind. In the cargo hold, the Marines tended to their wounded while Kiara sat quietly, processing her rescue. Thank you, she said to Brandon. I thought I was going to die. We don't leave allies behind, Brandon said simply. Besides, we need you. Someone has to keep telling the truth about what happened. When they returned to the new Terra, Jake welcomed Kiara personally. She looked around the ship in wonder, seeing human technology for the first time. This is amazing, she said. Your ships are so different from Council vessels. How did you develop all this during your exile? Necessity, Lisa answered. She had come to meet Kiara, curious about the journalist who had risked everything for truth. When you have nothing but time and determination, you find ways to innovate. We've been working on this technology for 4,000 years. Kiara toured the ship, met the crew, and learned about human culture. She was surprised by how normal humans seemed. The Council had always portrayed them as monsters, violent and cruel. But the people she met were kind, thoughtful, and determined. They were fighting not for conquest, but for justice. I want to keep broadcasting, Kiara told Jake. I can reach more people from here than I ever could from prison. Let me tell your story. Let me show the galaxy who humans really are, Jake agreed. Kiara began making broadcasts from the new Terra, transmitting across Council space. She interviewed crew members, showed daily life on the ship, explained human history and culture. Her broadcast reached billions of people, and slowly opinions began to shift. But not everyone was convinced. On many worlds, the Council's propaganda was stronger than the truth. They painted humans as manipulators who had corrupted Kiara, who were using her to deceive honest citizens. The galaxy remained divided. Then came the discovery that changed everything. Nicole was deep in. The attack on Varix Prime was swift and brutal. Jake's fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel directly above the biological weapons facility, catching the defenders completely unprepared. The facility was enormous, a sprawling complex of laboratories and storage buildings that housed 4,000 years of research into how to kill humans. Target locked, Ryan reported from his tactical station. All ships ready to fire. Destroy it, Jake ordered. Leave nothing standing. The human ships unleashed everything they had. Gravity weapons crushed buildings. Plasma cannons melted metal. Missiles found their targets with perfect accuracy. Within minutes, the facility was gone, along with all the anti-human biological weapons it contained. Small explosions continued as stored chemicals reacted with each other, sending colorful flames into the sky. Facility destroyed, Ryan confirmed. No survivors detected. Jake felt no satisfaction, only grim necessity. Those weapons could have killed every human in the galaxy. Now they were ashes. But the Council's response was immediate and overwhelming. Within hours, military fleets from 3 different sectors were moving toward human positions. The Council had finally committed to full-scale war. No more treating humans as minor pirates. This was an extermination campaign. We have to move on Earth now, Tyler urged during the emergency strategy meeting. If we wait, the Council will mass their entire fleet against us. We'll never get another chance. The fleet isn't ready, Kate protested. We've taken casualties. Ships need repairs. Crew members need rest. The Council won't give us time to rest, Jake said quietly. Tyler is right. We move on Earth now, or we never move at all. The decision was made. The entire human fleet, now down to 270 ships after recent battles, would jump to Earth's solar system. They would face whatever Council forces were there. They would plant humanity's flag on Earth's grave, and they would make the galaxy remember. Nicole had been monitoring Council communications constantly. She reported that Earth's solar system, now called Sector 721 Omega, housed a major Council military academy with over 50 warships permanently stationed there. The system also contained multiple defense platforms, weapon satellites, and shield generators protecting the academic facilities. 50 ships, Ryan said, studying the tactical data. We have 270. Good odds, unless they call for reinforcements, Tyler cautioned. Once we arrive, every Council fleet in the region will head toward Earth. We'll have maybe 6 hours before we're overwhelmed. Then we finish it in 6 hours, Jake said. Brandon, your Marines will land on Earth itself, plant our flag, take pictures, show the galaxy that humans have returned home. Nicole, you'll broadcast everything live across all Council networks. I want everyone to watch this. What about the Academy? Kate asked. There will be young cadets there, students who aren't soldiers yet. We give them a chance to evacuate, Jake decided. We're not murderers. We're not the Council. The fleet prepared for the jump. Crews ran final checks on weapon systems. Pilots reviewed attack patterns. Marines loaded equipment for the planetary landing. In the medical bay, Laura and her team prepared for casualties. Everyone knew this battle would be costly. Kiara found Jake on the bridge an hour before the jump. I want to come with the landing team, she said. To witness humans returning to Earth. The galaxy needs to see this through alien eyes, not just human ones. Jake considered this. Having Kiara's testimony would be powerful, but it was also dangerous. If you come, you might die. I can't guarantee your safety. I know, Kiara said simply, but this is history. This is the moment the Council's lies are fully exposed. I need to be there, Jake nodded. Stay close to the Marines. Do everything Brandon tells you. The fleet jumped. One moment they were in empty space. The next they emerged in Earth's solar system. Jake's breath caught in his throat. There was Earth, visible on the view screen. A brown and gray planet without the blue oceans and green continents from the old pictures. The Council had killed it completely. All ships battle formation, Jake commanded, pushing aside his emotions. Weapons armed. Shields maximum. The Council forces in the system reacted with shock and confusion. Alarms blared across their ships. The Academy went into emergency lockdown. Defense platforms activated, their weapons tracking the human fleet. This is Commander Jake Morrison of the human fleet. Jake broadcast on all frequencies. We have returned to Earth. We are not here to conquer or destroy. We are here to remember what was taken from us. Council forces, you have one chance to stand down. Evacuate the Academy. Leave this system, or face the consequences. The response came from a Council admiral, his translated voice angry and frightened. Humans, you are illegal combatants in Council space. Surrender immediately or be destroyed. You cannot win this fight. We already won, Jake replied. 4,000 years ago, you tried to erase us from existence. You failed. That failure is our victory. Now move aside. The Council Admiral's response was to open fire. Energy beams lanced across space toward the human ships. The battle had begun. The human fleet moved like a school of fish, each ship knowing its role, coordinating perfectly. They had spent 4,000 years training for this. The Council forces were larger and better equipped, but they fought as individuals, each ship acting on its own initiative. Amy piloted the new Terra through the chaos with incredible skill, dodging weapons fire that would have destroyed the ship. Ryan coordinated the counterattack, targeting Council ships with precision strikes. Chris monitored the special weapon, keeping it charged for the right moment. 2 Council ships destroyed, Kevin reported. 3 more heavily damaged. We've lost 4 ships so far. Jake watched the battle unfold, making split-second decisions. Group 7, focus on those defense platforms. Group 3, cover the landing ships. Group 12, I need you to draw fire away from the Academy. Why protect the Academy? Ryan asked. Because there are students there who aren't soldiers, Jake said firmly. We give them time to evacuate. We're better than the Council. The Council Admiral seemed to realize this. His ships gradually pulled back from the Academy, allowing escape pods to launch. Thousands of young aliens fled toward the safety of Council transport ships. Jake's fleet did not fire on the transports. Some of the Council ships are breaking off, Tyler reported from his command ship. They're refusing to fight. I'm receiving communications from 3 vessels saying they won't kill humans for defending their homeworld. Let them leave, Jake ordered. Focus on the ships still fighting. The battle raged for 2 hours. Ships exploded on both sides. The space around Earth filled with debris and weapons fire. Human crews fought with determination born from 4,000 years of pain. Council forces fought because they had been told humans were monsters. Finally, the last Council warship retreated, damaged, and limping away. The defense platforms were destroyed. The system was under human control. All units cease fire, Jake commanded. Landing teams, you are cleared to proceed to Earth. Brandon's Marines launched in armored dropships descending through Earth's thin, poisoned atmosphere. Kiara sat with them, recording everything with her equipment. The journey down was rough, the air turbulent and hostile, but Amy piloted them safely to the surface. They landed near what had once been a great city. Ancient ruins stretched in every direction, buildings melted by Council weapons, streets buried under dust and ash. The sky was gray, the sun dim through the atmospheric haze. No plants grew here, no animals moved. Earth was truly dead. Brandon's Marines stepped out onto the surface, becoming the first humans to walk on Earth in 4,000 years. Behind their helmets, many had tears in their eyes. This was home. This was where humanity began, and the Council had destroyed it. Plant the flag, Brandon ordered, his voice thick with emotion. 2 Marines unfurled a flag bearing Earth's image surrounded by stars, representing all the colony ships that had fled. They drove the flagpole deep into the ground, right in the center of the ruins. Kiara filmed everything, her camera capturing the Marines standing at attention, saluting the flag. She recorded the devastation surrounding them, the evidence of the Council's genocide preserved for 4,000 years. This is Kiara, broadcasting from Earth's surface, she said into her microphone. I am standing in the ruins of a civilization that the Council destroyed. They told us Earth died from disease. They lied. What I see here is not illness. This is deliberate destruction. This is murder on a planetary scale. And these humans, these survivors who traveled 4,000 years to return home, they are not monsters. They are people reclaiming what was stolen from them. Her broadcast reached across the galaxy. Billions of aliens watched humans standing on Earth's ruins, saw the dead planet, understood the magnitude of the Council's crime. Public opinion shifted dramatically. Even on Council core worlds, protests erupted demanding answers. But Jake's celebration was cut short by Nicole's urgent voice. We have multiple faster-than-light signatures incoming. Big ones. The Council is sending everything they have. Jake looked at the tactical display. 20 fleets were converging on Earth, over 2,000 ships. The Council had committed its entire military to destroying humanity once and for all. Recall the landing teams, Jake ordered. All ships prepare for... The days following the Battle of Earth changed everything. Kiara's broadcast had reached every corner of the galaxy, and now billions of beings had watched humans reclaim their homeworld. They had seen the ruins of Earth, proof of the Council's genocide. They had witnessed a small human fleet defeat a massive Council armada, And most importantly, they had seen humans show mercy even in victory, allowing students and non-combatants to escape. Jake stood in his quarters aboard the New Terra, reading reports from across the galaxy. The council was collapsing. 5 member species had formally withdrawn, declaring they would no longer follow leaders who had lied for 4,000 years. 3 more were holding emergency votes to decide their future. Only 4 species remained loyal to the council, and even on those worlds, protests filled the streets. "The council is requesting a meeting," Kate said, entering without knocking. She looked exhausted but hopeful. "They're calling it a peace negotiation. They want to discuss terms." "Terms," Jake repeated bitterly. "They murder 7 billion people and now they want to discuss terms." "Jake, this is what we wanted," Kate said gently. "Not more war. Not more death. We wanted them to acknowledge what they did. We wanted justice. This is our chance to get it." Jake knew she was right. Vengeance had driven humanity through 4,000 years of exile. But vengeance alone couldn't build a future. If they kept fighting, more people would die on both sides. Human and alien, the cycle of violence would continue forever. "Set up the meeting," Jake said finally. "But we meet on our terms at a location of our choosing, and I want Kiara there as a witness." The meeting was arranged on a neutral space station in the outer territories, far from any military presence. Jake brought his senior officers Tyler, Kate, Ryan, and Lisa. Kiara came as an independent observer. The council sent representatives from the remaining loyal species, led by Council Speaker Zethrax, the ancient being who had argued for Earth's destruction thousands of years ago. Zethrax looked different from any human. The Zalthari species resembled tall insects with multiple limbs and compound eyes. But despite the alien appearance, Jake could read body language well enough to see that Zethrax was afraid. "Commander Morrison," Zethrax said through a translation device, the voice mechanical and emotionless, "we come seeking an end to hostilities. The Council recognizes that mistakes were made in our past dealings with humanity." "Mistakes," Ryan said angrily. "You murdered an entire planet." "The decision to cleanse Earth was made under different circumstances," Zethrax continued, ignoring Ryan's outburst. "The Council believed humanity posed a genuine threat to galactic stability. We now understand this assessment was incorrect." Jake leaned forward. "You're not here because you understand anything. You're here because we beat you, because your own people are turning against you, because you're losing power." Zethrax's limbs twitched in what might have been acknowledgement. "Perhaps, but regardless of motivation, we wish to end this conflict. What do you want, Commander Morrison? What will it take for humans to stop their attacks?" Jake had thought about this moment for months. What did humanity want? Earth was dead and couldn't be brought back. The billions who died could never return. Justice for genocide was impossible to achieve fully. But perhaps something could be built from the ashes. First, the Council must acknowledge publicly what was done to Earth, Jake said. "No more lies about disease. No more propaganda. Admit that you destroyed a peaceful civilization because you feared their independence." "We can do that," Zethrax agreed quickly. "Second, the Council must disband. Your system of government has proven corrupt and genocidal. The galaxy needs new leadership based on equality, not domination." This caused agitation among the Council representatives. They spoke to each other in their various languages, clearly uncomfortable with this demand. "The Council has maintained galactic peace for 6,000 years, Zethrax protested. "Without our structure, the galaxy would fall into chaos." "The Council maintained control through fear," Lisa said firmly. "That's not peace. That's oppression." "Third," Jake continued, "all anti-human weapons must be destroyed. Every biological weapon, every chemical agent, every genetic research program designed to target humans. We want proof of their destruction." "Agreed," Zethrax said. "Fourth, Earth and its entire solar system belong to humanity now. No Council species may claim any part of it, and humans have the right to reclaim any former colony sites or territories we wish." "That is acceptable," Zethrax acknowledged. "Finally, and most importantly, you must help us contact the other species you've oppressed," Jake said. "Kiara's research found evidence that you destroyed at least 2 other civilizations. The Kelrics and the Voth. We want to know if any of them survived like we did, and if they did, we want to help them." This demand clearly surprised the Council representatives. They had expected demands for territory or resources or power. Instead, humans were asking to help other victims. The Kelrics were destroyed completely, Zethrak said slowly. But the Voth, it is possible small populations escaped. Their destruction was only 300 years ago. We could provide you with the locations of their former territories. Do that, Jake said. And while you're at it, provide a list of every species the Council has threatened or attacked. We want to know the full extent of your crimes. The negotiations continued for hours, working out details and specific terms. Ryan wanted harsher penalties. Kate argued for reconciliation. Tyler focused on practical matters like territory boundaries. Lisa insisted on historical records being preserved accurately. Finally, a preliminary agreement was reached. The Council would admit its crimes publicly. It would begin a process of reforming into a more democratic structure, where all species had equal representation. Anti-human weapons would be destroyed under human supervision. Earth would be returned to humanity, and the search for other surviving victims would begin immediately. There's one more thing, Jake said as the meeting was ending. Some of your species opposed Earth's destruction. Nicole found records of Council members who voted against the genocide, who tried to stop it. We don't hold those individuals or their species responsible for what happened. Zethrak seemed genuinely surprised. You would differentiate between us? Even though we all belong to the Council. We're not looking for revenge against an entire civilization, Jake explained. We're looking for justice against those responsible. There's a difference. After the Council representatives left, Jake's team remained in the conference room, processing what had happened. Did we just make peace? Ryan asked, sounding almost disappointed. We made a start, Kate said. Real peace will take years, maybe decades. But yes, this is the beginning. I can't believe it's over, Lisa said softly. 4,000 years of exile, generations living on ships dreaming of this moment, and now it's over. It's not over, Jake corrected. This is just the end of one story. Now we have to write the next one. Over the following months, the galaxy transformed. The Council issued a formal apology for Earth's destruction, broadcast across all networks. The admission caused political upheaval on every Council world. Governments fell. New leaders emerged. The movement toward democratic reform accelerated. Human ships began the long process of terraforming Earth. It would take centuries to restore the planet to livability, but the work began immediately. Atmosphere processors were installed. Water was brought from the outer solar system. Engineered bacteria were seeded to begin breaking down toxins in the soil. Meanwhile, other human ships traveled to the locations provided by the Council, searching for survivors of the Kelrics and Voth genocides. In the seventh system they explored, they found something remarkable. A small colony of Voth living on a hidden moon, descendants of refugees who had escaped the Council's attack 300 years ago. The Voth were surprised and suspicious when human ships arrived, but when Jake explained that humanity had also survived genocide, that they understood the pain of losing a homeworld, the Voth agreed to make contact. They had spent 3 centuries hiding, afraid the Council would find them. Learning that the Council was being held accountable gave them hope. We thought we were alone, the Voth leader said through translators. We thought no one else had survived their judgment. You're not alone, Jake assured them. And together, we'll make sure this never happens to anyone else. The discovery of the Voth survivors made news across the galaxy. It became clear that the Council's genocidal policies had affected more species than anyone realized. Investigations began, searching historical records for other victims. The full scope of the Council's crimes slowly came to light. Nicole continued her work, now officially recognized as the human fleet's chief intelligence officer. She had unrestricted access to Council databases, helping to document crimes and find evidence. She also worked with Kiara, who had become one of the most famous journalists in the galaxy. Together they ensured the truth remained public and preserved. Brandon's Marines transitioned from combat soldiers to peacekeepers, helping maintain order during the political transitions happening across Council space. Some former Council species needed help preventing civil wars as their old governments collapsed. The Marines provided security without taking sides, earning respect.